So over the next 2 years, there are multiple big movies coming out, some of which I am excited for, others, well, not so much. Today on the channel, we're going to discuss those. The first film on my list may surprise you because in the past I have stated the original movie from this film's franchise is in the ballpark of being a masterpiece. And when I saw the sequel a couple years ago, at the time I was a fan, but now I can't say I'm excited for Avatar: Fire and Ash. I still stand by my statement about the original Avatar from 2009. It is a phenomenal movie. It may be my favorite from James Cameron. When it comes to The Way of Water, though, well, my opinion has changed a lot over the last 3 years. Simply put, at this moment in time, I can't say I'm as high on it as I once was. Therefore, Avatar: Fire and Ash is a movie coming out at the end of 2025 I don't care about. There are a couple reasons for why I don't care about Fire and Ash, but my main reason remains that The Way of Water was disappointing. Coming off the heels of 2009's Avatar, after having to wait 13 years for a sequel, you deliver a movie that is basically a rehash of the original, just worse. And for me, that killed any excitement I had for the rest of James Cameron's Avatar sequels. Back in 2022, I did like The Way of Water, mostly thanks to the visuals. The Way of Water's visuals are probably the best visual effects I have ever seen on the big screen. I'm not sure any other movie in my lifetime will match the visual effects that I have seen from these Avatar movies, and The Way of Water is proof that it is possible to make CGI look lifelike. And I also think I like The Way of Water when it released because, well, I guess nostalgia is the answer. I love the original Avatar so much and always wanted more movies. When I saw the 2009 Avatar movie for the first time, all I wanted following my watch were sequels. And then eventually they were announced, but then of course, they were delayed again and again and again. It felt like GTA 6 had a better chance of getting released first before those movies. Obviously, we did eventually get The Way of Water in 2022 finally. But after seeing it and giving plenty of thought to my feelings about The Way of Water, the less enthusiastic I became for the movie. And now that leaves us with Avatar: Fire and Ash 3 years later. Now, part of me thought Avatar: Fire and Ash's trailer could change my mind. Maybe this trailer would be so damn good that I would forget about The Way of Water and how it disappointed me, and that this movie could actually be incredible. Maybe just as good, if not better, than the original Avatar. Nope. Yeah, this trailer did absolutely nothing to change my mind about my thoughts going into Avatar: Fire and Ash. I don't have any anticipation for the movie. It looks exactly the same as The Way of Water and 2009's Avatar. There's nothing new here, nothing we haven't seen before. I would not be surprised if the story was a rehash of the last two. Except this time we have evil Na'vi. And that's the thing about the first Avatar. Not only are the visuals spectacular, but I love the story too. And The Way of Water did in fact feel like a rehash. You know, visual effects can only take your movie so far. To a certain degree, you do need a good plot, and I don't have any reasons to believe that Fire and Ash will have a great plot. So it's sad to think that after so many years, that 13-year gap between 2009's Avatar and The Way of Water, that I wanted sequels so badly, and now a couple years after the sequel came out, I kind of wish we never got any Avatar sequels. I would have preferred to see James Cameron do different things because he is one of the best directors in film history, and to see him dedicating all this time to making just okay Avatar movies upsets me. The next movie on my list is Supergirl. My reason for not caring about Supergirl is along the same lines as why I don't care about Fire and Ash. The reason being, this is the second movie in the DCU. The first was from this past summer, Superman, directed by James Gunn. Now, I went into that movie with high expectations, and, well, Shocker, I left the theater disappointed. Sadly, Superman was not nearly as good as I thought it could have been. I also just don't care about the character Supergirl. We had a Superman movie to kickstart the DCU, so why is your second film in the universe a Supergirl film? There are other DC characters I rather get showcased in a solo DCU movie as opposed to Supergirl. Why is she the one who gets the next movie in line? There are plenty of other more popular characters in DC, yet you choose Supergirl? I didn't care a whole lot either for Millie Alcock's portrayal of the character. I can tell this is going to be someone who's rather annoying. She likes to party and get drunk. I'm sure she'll have to overcome her vices in the end. But man, I don't like the direction it appears they're going to take this character in to begin her movie, and I'll mention it again. Superman, I was kind of disappointed by. I think it's a step down from James Gunn compared to his Guardians movies and the Suicide Squad. So Supergirl is the second big upcoming movie I do not care about. Following Supergirl, I have two movies, but we'll place them into one discussion because Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday are the next two MCU movies on the Marvel docket for 2026. I feel like half of moviegoers are either ecstatic about these movies or couldn't care less. The other half of the people have checked out. They checked out a long time ago. And it shows because Marvel's box office has been struggling for most of their movies the past couple of years. I will say Thunderbolts did surprise the hell out of me. It's Marvel's best movie since Guardians 3 in my opinion. Outside of Thunderbolts though, I have mostly been dissatisfied with the rest of the MCU ever since the end of Phase 3. And so now that we're through the Fantastic Four first steps, all we have coming up are Brand New Day and Doomsday next year. And if it wasn't clear already, the reason I'm not excited for either movie is simply because Marvel still hasn't been able to find consistency as far as making great films again. So now our next Avengers movie is Doomsday. It's the first one since Endgame, which I think is great. That and Infinity War both. But Doomsday is a weird Avengers movie because there's been barely any build up to it. The film has gotten delayed multiple times, and I would not be surprised if it gets delayed one more time, considering that December is an odd month to release an Avengers movie, so I think they're going to release it in May or maybe April of 2027. It doesn't really matter when the movie comes out. I don't think it's going to be good. I'm glad at least Marvel is now taking their time with Doomsday after what felt like them rushing through the whole process. However, I do think the RDJ casting as Doomsday is their last-ditch effort to get money from fans before they decide to reboot the entire franchise in Secret Wars. So going into Doomsday, my anticipation will be way lower than it was when I went into Infinity War and Endgame. Thanks to the crappy phases 4 and 5, a lack of build-up, and what seems like a Hail Mary to get fans in the seats one last time before they reboot. Spider-Man Brand New Day, meanwhile, is the latest Tom Holland Spider-Man movie where Spider-Man is not the sole focus. No, because in Brand New Day, not only do you have Spider-Man, but you have the Punisher and the Hulk. It has become a common thing for these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies where he is not the sole focus whatsoever. There's always somebody else that is taking some of the spotlight from Spider-Man. And those films aren't even that good, especially when you compare them to Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. All in all, if this were the year 2018 or 19, I probably would be beyond excited for both Doomsday and Brand New Day. But unfortunately, we're in the year 2025 now, and Marvel has been on such a cold streak with a couple good movies here and there, to the point where I don't care about anything they make anymore. They keep getting my hopes up, and time again, they disappoint me. So yes, these are two movies I do not care about that are coming out next year. Fast X Part 2 is another big upcoming movie I have no interest in. This one is self-explanatory. F9 and Fast X were complete disasters. Therefore, I have no reason to believe that Fast X Part 2 will be any better. Also, hasn't this franchise gone on for long enough? This is going to be, what, the 12th movie in the franchise? and the last two have been pretty bad, so I kind of wish they just ended it at Fast X. Plus, Fast X Part 2 is such a stupid name. Why not just call it Fast and Furious something? I don't know, The End? Anything is better than Fast X Part 2. I'm of the belief it'd be nearly impossible to find someone who's actually excited about Fast X Part 2. Now, maybe you want to see this movie for the CGI Brian O'Connor brought back to life, but we all know that's going to be a recipe for disaster. Finally, Shrek 5, which is now scheduled to come out June 2027. Once again, another self-explanatory one. Now, of course, DreamWorks' last official Shrek movie in the franchise was a great one, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which makes me wonder, why not make the next Shrek movie a direct sequel to The Last Wish instead of making another Shrek movie? Because Shrek 3 was awful. Shrek Forever After isn't bad, just not nearly as good as Shrek 1 and 2. So since we haven't had a great DreamWorks movie with Shrek as the main character since 2004, I don't see a reason to be psyched about a Shrek 5. Also, the teaser trailer turned off many people, between the horrendous animation style, as well as Zendaya being announced as a major character. Oh boy, I wonder where this plot's gonna go. Hopefully the delay from December 2026 to summer 2027 gives them time to redo their previous ideas. But for right now, I don't care, and I'm not going to care about a fifth Shrek movie until DreamWorks shows something that gets me excited. So there you have it. Those are my 10 plus minutes for today of me being miserable about upcoming big movies I don't care about. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you care about any of these movies? Do you think any of them will be good? Oh, let me know in the comments. Well, thank you all so much for watching as always. If you're someone who's new here and enjoyed yourself, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on all notifications for upcoming videos. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you then.